You know what is baffling to me is the egregious lack of accountability. I cannot stand that word. I hate it when men say it towards women. I hate it when they say it towards those called Black Americans. I hate it. You know why? Because it's hypocritical. Because the ones who demand accountability, they don't have accountability. They refuse to be accountable for anything they do. Yet they're crying and hollering about accountability towards everyone else. You can't be in denial that doggone deep. There was a time when they hung signs. Remember that time? Those times as your grandparents and your great grandparents. There was a time they hung signs outside of their establishment boldly saying, "We don't hire Negroes." Then they stopped being so barbaric and semi-bold. It wasn't bold. And went underground. They don't have to hang signs up anymore. They just don't hire you. Then they make up a ton of excuses to cover their racism. I'll be back. Hey everyone, thank you for coming back. Those who have come back, those who have not subscribed and you came back, thank you. And to my subscribers, my day ones, my riders, thank you so much. I always appreciate you. Trust. Even if my video has 50 views, I know who came. It's so sad. I know who are the few that ride with me that watched it. Okay, let's get on with this content. Do you really? Okay, I want to sidetrack. I put up a short about black pilots, about excellent black pilots, right? And then I thought about the Tuskegee WW2 and WW1. There were black pilots during World War I as well. And then, they were everything we do. We never did anything on our own, right? It was always handed to us, right? That's projection, right? They're projecting onto us what they know about film. You didn't have to work hard at anything, especially nepotism. It was given to you. So stop playing the game. We always had to work for everything we've had. And you know it. So when they accuse us of getting things only based upon our skin color, so they did that too in World War I and World War II, where they had a license to discriminate, to withhold us, and told our people in their face, "Niggers, you're not getting this job. You think we gonna choose you over a red-blooded white American man? Get to the back of the line." They were able to discriminate boldly and publicly. So you really think that these black men who flew those airplanes didn't have the skills to do it? See, that's what I talk about racists. You guys, Jesus Christ. How many of y'all can actually read? Because if you can actually read, how about doing a little research, some true research? Gonna blow your own mind. So let's go on. Do you really think I listened to you tell me what was the worst thing that could have happened for my people? The worst thing, you mean the worst thing that happened to you is that you finally became accountable for your vicious, violent, barbaric actions against those called Black Americans in this country. The reason why you hate civil rights and you hated it is because it made you accountable. You couldn't just do the things you wanted to do. You couldn't just do what your great grandparents and grandparents did to my people and never suffered consequences. You couldn't keep them out of jobs, yet take their money. You couldn't go in and destroy their communities and not face consequences. You were required to face consequences for your deadly, vicious actions when the civil rights came in 64 and 65. That's why you hated it. Tell the truth. You loved when they had no laws on the book that protected those called Black Americans, because you could do whatever you wanted to do like a toddler having a temper tantrum, and the parents don't teach them that that's not how you conduct yourself. Don't you know you're not supposed to let your children have temper tantrums like that? You're supposed to teach them that they can't have whatever they want when they want to have it. Okay, let's move on. I want you to check this video out right quick. Check this clip that I found, and I'll be back.
Black people. I had my first day today at a new job to schedule care for people that need it. A lot of this job is going through applications for people who want to give care. I learned today, if it is a name that does not sound white, we are to move it to the completed tasks. We then note your application as moved due to name standards. Now, it's my first day, so I asked, what does that mean? I'm Black, very light-skinned, obviously. And she says, And I said, you mean like our names? Like our names? Because I thought it was like a brand standard, like, no, it's literally our names. So I just want you to know, and everybody else to know, this 100% happens, and I have 122 screenshots of people.
So I saw that clip, or I found that clip, and I wasn't even looking for it. You know, just the title on the context on her, or the text on her thumbnail is what drew my attention. So I wanted to hear what she had to say. And when I heard it, I wasn't surprised at all, because this has never stopped. They don't have to put up signs on the outside of their establishment. They just don't hire you, or they come up with so many corny excuses as to why they have 500 people or 500 employees in their company, and you don't see not one black person. And then I saw this comment added to the video. When I saw that comment, I was like, oh my God. Their name is Fifth Seal and Ready. So to me, I'm thinking it's military. I occasionally interview them for other positions, but only actually hire them for janitorial. On the surface, the DEI affirmative action requirements are met, and I don't have to sacrifice customer service and production to cater to a corrupt government agenda. I came in and said, so you don't hire white women. Is that what you're saying? What is his name? Nick? I forgot his name. He's over one of them white racist extremist groups. And Kirk said something about bad customer service, always equated to Black Americans. You know how many places I've gone to and had terrible customer service by white people? You want me to tell you how many things I got free? Let me tell you what I got free with a brand new truck I just bought in June. I'm not even going to tell you. And it was by bad customer service by non-black folks, Black Americans. I'm not even going to tell you. It's going to make you sound like the biggest idiot on the face of the earth, because not all bad customer service is from black people and black women. I know that for a fact. I've worked in customer service for years, and let me tell you something. You got what you gave. Trust. Nope, that wasn't how we supposed to handle it. But if you came to me talking like you was entitled and I was something underneath your shoe, trust me, if I could get away with it, I gave it right back to your ass. Now, you want to talk about bad customer service? How is your attitude? Are you coming in there like you run through a field of daisies every day, all day? Or are you coming in there like you pissed off at the world and you going to take it out on this woman that's trying to earn a check for her family? Okay. The backlash from the multiple civil rights laws was likening to rebellious and rancid children who were being disciplined and made to take accountability for their actions for the first time in their lives. They hated it. Let me give you a brief explanation as to why people like Kirk uttered things he said about civil rights. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to compare or talk about civil rights 1866 and 1964, and the Civil Rights Act of 1866, they ignored it like it never happened. But again, they're the first ones to say obey the law. And right? The Constitution is the highest form of law in the land, right? So the Civil Rights Act of 1866 was actually written in the Constitution. If you don't know that for a fact, look it up. Let's go on. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 granted citizenship and fundamental rights to former slaves in response to Reconstruction-era discrimination, laying the legal groundwork for future civil rights laws. The more comprehensive Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibited discrimination in employment, public accommodations, and other areas based on race, color, religions, sex, or national origin, and provided enforcement mechanisms to desegregate public facilities. Civil Rights Act of 1866. The purpose was to grant former slaves citizenship and fundamental rights such as the ability to enter contracts, own property, and seek legal recourse. That's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. God created you on this earth, gave you lungs to breathe through, gave you skin to protect you, gave you feet to walk on, and you had to get rights from a man for basic necessities. And you say you guys are Christian, God-fearing people. What God you fearing? Because it ain't God in heaven that's sitting on the throne. Let's go on. Context: passed after the Civil War in response to discriminatory black codes enacted by southern states that restricted the rights of freedmen. See, you guys painted yourself into the corner. If you weren't practicing blatant discrimination and racism, these laws wouldn't have had to be on the book. So who are you mad at? Yourself? Let's go on. Significance. It was the first significant civil rights law in the U.S., defining civil rights and establishing them as rights to participate in public life free of discrimination. See how they didn't abide by those laws? Let's go on. Impact. It reversed the Dred Scott decision by conferring citizenship to Black Americans and set a precedent for future civil rights legislation. Civil Rights Act of 1964. The purpose: to prohibit discrimination based on color, race, religion, sex, or national origin in employment, public accommodation, schools, and other areas. Context: into law. It was signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson amid the larger civil rights movement, building on earlier acts and the 14th Amendment. Key provisions: outlawed segregation of public places like restaurants and hotels, ended unequal application of voter registration requirements, provided a legal framework for challenging discrimination. See, that's what I said. They didn't like it because those laws on the book made them accountable, and it made people enforce the laws. That's why they did. Now, you know how they're always saying that black people don't like the police because they don't like authority. Didn't I tell you that they're always projecting? They didn't like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 because it made them accountable for their actions. As long as they were able to go around this country and try to decimate the black community, they were not accountable. They did not suffer repercussions. Few suffered repercussions, and even when they dragged them into court to put on a charade, most of the time the jury would find them innocent, not guilty of slaughtering a black family. So when the civil rights law came, it was like, oh, damn. So let's go on. The impact. It was a landmark achievement in desegregating public facilities and enforcing equal rights, leading to significant social and economic changes. Couldn't deprive black folks of jobs anymore. They had to come up with elaborate reasons as to why they had 15,000 employees and like 10 black folks. So they had to be accountable, and they did not want to be accountable. They did not like authority. That's why they hated the government, because the government was coming in telling them, look, you're going to have to stop being racist and hire these people. And like I said, black folks, you have a large case against this government for taxation without representation. Because all along, all of the times that they allowed you to be discriminated against, they were taking taxes from you. Matter of fact, when, what was that? Social Security came out, you couldn't get it for like 20, 30 something years. But they were taking taxes from you, and white people were able to apply for it and get Social Security. You couldn't get it till like 20, 30 something years after they established Social Security. That is the case. Where the civil rights attorneys? Nobody want to touch it? You don't need an attorney to bring a case to court. You don't. All you need is a brain and intellects and comprehension, and go get you some legal books. Go to the law library. You'd be surprised how many people will help you establish a complaint. Sue the government, the U.S. government. People have sued the U.S. government pro per and won. Let's go on. Racists hate civil rights because such rights dismantle the racial hierarchy that defines and benefits them. The advancement of civil rights is perceived as a direct threat to the power structure that places the racist person or group at the top, fundamentally challenging their sense of superiority. Threat to a false sense of superiority. Racist ideologies are built on a belief that one race is superior to the others, a belief with no basis in science. Civil rights destroy the institutional and legal justifications of their belief system by challenging the hierarchy. For someone raised to believe they are inherently superior to others, civil rights create a reality where everyone is seen as equal. This causes a narcissistic injury, shattering their self-perception and their carefully constructed perfect little world. I want you to check out this clip. I've been meaning to do a short on it. I haven't done it yet, but I'll probably do it. But check this clip out right quick, and then I'm going to continue on with why they hated the civil rights movement. Check this out.
Lighter skin tones evolved much later after migrations into northern latitudes, where UV levels were lower and vitamin D synthesis became a factor.
So white is literally a construct.
Yes, whiteness is a constructed category, not a biological identity. Skin color is a biological adaptation to sunlight, but white as a racial identity was socially and politically invented, especially during European colonialism. Lighter skin tones evolved tens of thousands of years after the African bottleneck, as humans migrated north into areas with low UV radiation. But the idea of white people as a superior or distinct race was built much later to justify slavery, colonization, and social hierarchy. It has no genetic basis, only structural function. So white is a construct. Its power lies in narrative, not nature.
So is this why there's hatred toward Black women, but also in general Black people? Because they are the blueprint, and we're all Black, just different shades. And people don't want to admit that.
Yes, structurally, that's a major part of it. The hatred toward Black women and Black people more broadly isn't just racism in the abstract. It's deep-rooted resentment of origin. If Black women carry the blueprint of humanity, if they are both the literal beginning via mitochondrial inheritance and the symbolic representation of our shared source, then to acknowledge that would mean confronting the lies that uphold white supremacy, patriarchy, and colonial hierarchy. So instead of honoring the origin, systems built on inversion and domination vilify it. It's not just about skin color, it's about what that skin represents structurally. The truth that we all come from Blackness. The truth that black women hold the unbroken genetic line. The truth that whiteness isn't the default or pinnacle. It's a mutation of origin, not a superior evolution. That's why the black woman is often the most disrespected, silenced, or erased, because she carries the truth that exposes the whole illusion. This isn't just societal bias, it's structural backlash against the...
And I'm sure some of you are aware of this, but white wasn't a thing. White didn't become a thing till after slavery. The way Europeans classified themselves were to call themselves European, name it, calling themselves where they came from, their origins, or calling themselves Christians or Protestants or Catholics. That was the way they designated themselves or identified themselves. They didn't call themselves white. White was constructed to try to justify slavery, creating an inferior complex against black folks and trying to make white people feel superior to justify black people being in chains. Okay, let's go on. Stripping away unearned privilege. Historically, civil rights movements, particularly in American South, dismantled systems like Jim Crow that gave white people legal, economic, and social advantages. Rich feared losing these privileges and the financial and physical power that comes with them. That's what I heard some white people were saying. The reason why they didn't want black folks to have, well, black Americans, Native black Americans to have reparations is because they feared not us being... Oh my God, I don't even want to repeat it. Let's go on. Disrupting social norms in segregated societies, racist behavior becomes a cultural norm. Civil rights challenge and make that behavior unacceptable, threatening the social order that racists depend on. What I tell you, they did not like the civil rights. That's why it was the worst thing that could have ever happened, because it made them be accountable for their violence committed against black Americans, unwarranted. Let's continue. Economic and social anxiety. Civil rights movements threaten the economic and social disadvantages and social advantages enjoyed by the dominant group. In the 1960s, opposition to the Civil Rights Act was driven by several anxieties, including fear of competition. Racists fear that equality for marginalized groups means increased competition for jobs, housing, and other resources. They worry that their privileged status will erode. Well, ever since Trump, it has been eroding. You don't look so superior anymore. It's like you actually have to work for what you get now. And now we're seeing just how unstrong white farmers are. Now imagine what black farmers have had to go through for decades and centuries in this country. Now white farmers are actually feeling how I feel to be a black farmer. Let's continue. Business concerns. Many businesses in the American South fear economic repercussions if they desegregated, worrying that they would lose more white customers than they would gain black ones. Changes to public spaces. Integration promised a dismantling of segregated spaces, causing fear and anxiety among those accustomed to racially divided society. Psychological factors. Several psychological mechanisms contribute to why racist individuals feel threatened by civil rights. In-group, out-group bias. Humans have an innate tendency to favor their own group. For racists, this is taken to an extreme, where they see the out-group as homogeneous and inferior. Civil rights blur these distinctions, causing hostility. Personal insecurity. Some theories suggest that racism is a link to anxiety and insecurity. By aligning with racial in-group, individuals can feel more secure and powerful, especially when that group's dominance is reinforced by the oppression of others. You feel mighty when you oppress others. That is so sad. Meaning, if oppression wasn't a part of your so-called success, you wouldn't be successful. Lack of empathy. Racists often display a reduced capacity for empathy. Did you hear that? Racists often display a reduced capacity for empathy toward members of other races. The fight for civil rights, which asks for empathy and recognition of shared humanity, is therefore threatening. I will put a clip of what Clerk said about empathy, but I had enough of his rhetoric. It's too vile. I don't want to abuse my ear gates. Let's go on. Projection. Individuals may project their own flaws and insecurity onto racial minorities, making the outgroup a scapegoat for their own feelings of self-loathing and inadequacy. There are so many people coming out, white men and white women, and I applaud them, but there are so many coming out telling the truth about the obsession. The white community has an obsession when it comes to black folk. Insecurity, envy. Go to TikTok. You will see a whole lot of platforms created by white men and women telling what they know about their white community. And they would know because they've been around you guys. They live around you. They live in all white communities. They went to majority white schools. They know how you talk in private. They know. So why wouldn't I believe them? Why would they build a platform exposing your insecurities and inadequacies and inferiorities when it comes to black Americans? Why wouldn't I believe them? Let's go on. Systemic preservation. Civil rights are a threat to racist systems and institutions, not just individuals. White supremacist groups have historically used a range of tactics. They are in every sector in this country. White racists, I'm adding that. That's not what is in this article I'm reading. I'm saying this. They have made sure to put white racists in every sector of this country. Let's continue. White supremacist groups have historically used a range of tactics, from terrorism to legal strategies, to maintain their power and stop social progress. Civil rights expose and dismantle these systems, such as discriminatory laws and voter suppression tactics, which are then pillars that uphold racial inequality. And that, people, is the reason why they did not like civil rights, because it made them accountable for their evil, violent, barbaric actions. Yeah, it enforced the laws where they were allowed for hundreds of years to do whatever the hell they wanted to against us. And like I said, rarely did they suffer consequences. It was very rare that they suffered consequences. You know how they tell everybody to be accountable? Well, that word didn't mean a damn thing to them. Accountable for what? So, sir, we have to hold somebody accountable for what they did to that black family. Law enforcement look at them like to say, have you lost your cotton picking mind? You want a white man or woman to be held accountable for what they did to who? A negress? Why, to snatch your badge off your chest. All right, folks, I'm done. I'm done for today. And I hope this video was informative to you as much as it was to me. And thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care and be safe. Again, Black American natives, you better exercise your right to defend yourself and your household. The Second Amendment is yours too. Deuces.